So this was Lewis taking black and Benjamin taking white. So all looks good so far. No real comments. Yep, very modern AI variations. I can dig it.
Oh, that's a mistake. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say this is a mistake. The idea being is that now white gets to get all these nice exchanges here. And yes, you can always come back and play b2, and white's not going to play here right now, but this is just very ugly shape, right?
Yes.
So in this particular situation, what I think usually happens is something like this, where white switches gears and plays on this side, and black will take the corner. Of course, white can choose to play here, but I would say that this might be a little bit better for black. And again, it's much better than the variation we just showed, where white got all these forcing moves over here. But it looks like, oh, you Atari'd here first. The Atari might not necessarily be good. And the reason why I say that is later on, let's say white plays elsewhere, you could play from here, this side, instead of playing at c7. So you can actually potentially get more over here by playing from here. So making this Atari now is maybe a little bit questionable, because again, you might want to be cutting at d6 later. The other part is, white could also just give up that one stone too and get a very large corner. And this is
I thought about that,
playable result for black.
Sure.
For white, excuse me. Yeah, I think connecting here and forcing your opponent to make these pretty poor exchanges are also totally okay as well.
Yeah.
Like, this is horrific shape, and white's very, very happy over here. Yeah, and, because you've actually made this c7 exchange, your group's in pretty decent shape. Like, even if white instead played something over here, it's going to be really hard for this black group to die. It's not going to live happily, but I can't really think of a way that this black group is going to come under too much pressure. And if anything, I think anything that white does over here might be a little bit more in danger. Maybe something like this happens, but I think it's going to be pretty easy for black to make eye shape if it needs to. So for that reason, I think that playing at b2 is just too small right now.
Okay.
And then this Hane is huge, right? So no reason to play the ko right now. This is something that you can always do later on, Benjamin. I think probably much larger, just to play something in the lower corner.
Sorry.
Oh, Ben. Yeah, you always have this available to you, and perhaps you want to wait till it's larger.
Okay.
The other thing you're risking is, like, if you lose this ko, black can always Atari from this direction too, right? So whereas you could actually be losing points because you could be doing something like this.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, black can play that whenever, right?
Yeah, black could play here too, but it doesn't even affect white's wall that much to play here. And again, but if you get the chance to play here first, having made these exchanges, excuse me. Oop, sorry, I don't know what I did there. Having made this ko that you ended up loses you out on potentially playing at b1 and forcing your opponent to make some exchanges. It's definitely like a 5 or 6 point change, right?
Okay.
And because this black group is not really in any danger of dying, it's a ko for points. It's not a ko for life.
I see. I just assumed I would be playing at a2 no matter what later in the game. I didn't think about b1.
Well, if your opponent never gets this, right?
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
But either way, it's small potatoes. It's some second line territory. We have so many places left on the board still. Yeah, and unfortunately, I mean, this cut is not as painful as we'd normally like it to be, because white gets this move here.
Yes.
So this is a really tough game already for black. You connect here, you get a forcing move here, so you you don't even get this extra liberty on these 2 white stones. You don't get to take away this S7 liberty, because otherwise you lose a couple. You lose another co-threat. You'll give your opponent a co-threat too. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think because there's no S7 stone, I think you could probably play here right now, Benjamin. Ben,
I thought about it, but then at this point I decided the coat small and thought it's fine to not care about.
Now it's large though. That's the thing, right? Because if let's say something like this happens, you're alive here, just make some sort of simple life. Now this becomes big.
Then I can attack. Okay.
Now you have so much thickness here. Black has a kind of a floating group over here. This is no longer small.
Okay, that makes sense.
And again, because Black didn't play this S7 stone, there's so much more Aji. There's so much less Aji for White here. So if Black played here, let's say these exchanges happened or whatever, and you come back and you play here, now there's actual points to lose over here.
Right.
Something like this might happen, and it's not quite clear that White's alive.
Yes.
A little bit small. Black comes here. And then once you've already exchanged to R10, capturing this 1 stone isn't that big a deal. Might as well just play something like this. Let Black take, and then pincer here. And now you're building on a much larger scale, right? This is a much nicer variation for you. And
why would Black ever take at A1 instead of at D2?
At D2. Oh yeah. I was just playing quickly, but yeah, you're totally right.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, that happened on the game. I played D2.
Yeah. Probably F3 is a little small. Again, I think I would probably focus on this and try to expand how much you're going to get here. Maybe. If this happens, this is definitely going to be a good variation for White. I think just connecting here, there's still quite a lot of space here, so you're not guaranteed this territory anyway. Maybe something like maybe a reduction move like this would be enough for Black. Well, definitely not enough. White's definitely ahead, but it would be maybe a little bit better. So probably E3 is a little small here.
Okay. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, this is a huge move. Maybe instead of approaching here, maybe you just play here. Kind of loosely helps.
That makes sense.
It's okay, but yeah, I think this is fine. I still probably would prefer to play a side territory move as opposed to something here. It's not that easy for Black to get a super deep invasion. And if all Black does is something like this or like this, you still can play here. And you're definitely not guaranteed all of this territory.
Yeah, I mean, my logic was basically that Black is also trying to build potential on the left side. So any move Black plays around G8 will increase Black's potential while reducing White's potential.
You're totally right in your thought. And I don't think it's not like this move is going to get like a minus 10 or 15%.
Okay.
I just don't know if it's necessarily the move I would play. Actually, if I were to play locally, I would probably play here.
Really?
Because Black doesn't want to cut. No cut here is going to be good for Black because it's surrounded by white stones. And so Black would probably just play here, in which case now you can actually build up better territory, right? This is how you want to use your thickness, right? You don't want to use your thickness to get territory. You want to use your thickness, like you can play harsher moves when you have a thick position because you have the strength to get away with it. If you had a lighter position, I would say, sure, this is the kind of move. But because your wall is so thick, like, yeah, go and attack, right? Like, what's Black going to do to you? If it Hane's here, you can Hane back.
That makes sense.
This is the best that Black can do, right? That's not a big deal.
Yeah, what happened in the game, I choose the wrong direction. I played there, but I realized that I had no move inside, so
yeah,
I just
So playing at F7 is definitely Aji Keshi. This is kind of the move that I would be thinking about right now. this is kind of attacking the sector line or the vector line, I'm not sure which it's called, of white's shapes. So kind of like if white chooses to fight here, it's not quite clear that white's gonna be able to kill the stone. And if
Yes.
white comes and plays here, well, then it's already better than if you wouldn't want to play this after this exchange, right? Because now,
Yes.
like think about let's change the order slightly. Are you going to play here now? Probably not, because now white's definitely going to play here.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that happened. Something happened that in the game because I felt that I had no other option.
So, okay, I see. I feel like this move is again kind of going against that idea of you want to use thickness to attack. You're pushing away from your thickness right now, Ben.
Yeah.
Like this is using your thickness to get territory, and obviously this is a huge territory and you might still win the game, but that's because you're already ahead, not because you're
Okay.
playing well. And so for me, my thoughts would be like, all right, let me attack. Let's go for blood, right? Like this is a really weak group. I have so much strength here. Even if I don't kill it, I'm definitely going to get some compensation by taking it away, and I still have all this territory at the bottom, right?
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Whereas if you play in this variation, yeah, you make a lot of territory here, but so does white, or so does black, right?
Yeah.
And black should not have been able to make this much territory.
Okay.
So you might win. It could be simplifying the game, but I don't think it's the right way to be thinking about the game. Is maybe a better way of phrasing it. But it looks like you played this and then did that anyway. So it seems like you got your head on straight, or it came back to it.
Yeah, well, I ended up losing that anyway because I missed a Tetsuji, but whatever, we'll get to that.
Although, like, if you're gonna play this way, I would definitely just play here first, because this exchange,
Yeah.
like these, think about it this way: if white jumps here, black plays here, are you going to play here?
No.
Right. That's basically what happens.
Mhm.
It's the same variation.
Yep.
So we can say that this move that K8 isn't helping white all that much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I wouldn't necessarily make this exchange right now because I think it hurts the liberties of this group, and so you might need to add another move beforehand.
Well, I do, and I didn't realize that, as you will
Okay.
see very shortly.
Yeah, I think I would just jump here. If black tries to get fancy and cut here, then you can always do that now.
Okay. Okay.
But I would probably add another move here first. Yeah.
At this point, I realized, oh no, so then I just Tanuki.
Well, I think that actually breaks a ladder that I had the choice to make at some point. If you try to
Yeah,
fight
that was.
these-
I mean, that was the other. That wasn't an arbitrary Tanuki. There was a reason I did that specific one. But like, at this point, I realized that those were dead. So.
Okay. Yeah.
So you're talking about this breaks the ladder here. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Oops,
So
sorry.
if white chooses to, yes.
I don't think it's a ladder. I think I think that there's just not enough liberties for white to do anything here.
Okay.
So I don't think this move really helps the ladder all that much. I mean, because black's so strong here, there's nothing that white can do.
I didn't see that black could try to black could make the net and just change the direction. Yeah, I didn't saw that.
So this is it just ends up being quite a small move. But if you're gonna play anything here, you might as well play here, right?
Yes.
If you're gonna play locally, you might as well get a little bit more. Or even something like this, right? Like.
Yeah.
Yep, all okay. Yeah, this seems fine. I mean, again, I think white's just so far ahead even after this exchange here that it's going to be a really tough game for black.
Yeah. I feel, and I try to at some point play there.
So here I would just try to kill this stone. I think this is probably a little too nice to black. White's strong over here. White's strong over here. Even if black runs out here, you're just gonna, kill this group, right? what can black really do in this situation? So you can either play something like this, or play the diagonal
Yeah,
here.
makes
I think this move at N8 is a little unreasonable. I think black would probably have to play at N9 if it's trying to do something here. But
I see.
I would, I mean, my instinct is something in this area. Because black is behind, black needs to try to be a little bit more aggressive, but I don't know if this works right now. So maybe, maybe
Yeah,
something like that.
I didn't want to
or-
play anything right now in the top side because my group on the right it feels like if I make any exchanges that makes white a little bit stronger to that side, it's going to be harder for me even.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a tough game for black right now.
Yeah.
There's no weak white groups. Like in these types of situations, what black needs to be doing is it needs to be attacking, right? It needs to be figuring out a way to use the thickness here, but there's nothing of white to attack, right?
Okay, yeah.
And so these are the types of games that even though there's 200 moves left or however many moves of the game left, these are the types of games where I say it's almost over because there's just no variation to occur.
Just a reminder for the time, another minute or two for this game.
Sure. Do we have another game that we want to review, Milan, or?
Yes, we do. It's from the first round. Since Ben
Okay.
is here too, you can do his game against Andrew because that one wasn't reviewed last time.
Sure.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Well, we can do a minute or two of this one, and then we'll jump to the last
Yeah,
one.
definitely. I'm just trying to keep it at 20 minutes because people
Yeah,
were
you're good.
emailing.
Yeah, I just feel that what you're saying is what happened in the game. Like after this point, like no matter what black happened, it did because white's so thick and any groups, and it doesn't have any weak group. All the attempts of black backfire at some point.
I do think white's being especially nice to black in this particular fight. I think white played here, which gives black a chance to come back here. Obviously, there's still a cut here, so there's still Aji. But if I were white, I would be like, I might kill this group. This would be the first and only thing that I even remotely think about.
Okay.
There's absolutely no weakness for white here. But I would probably kill like this if I was gonna do it.
I think I'm like way too scared to try and kill groups because I've been playing on Fox and the players have a tendency to make miracles happen when you're trying to kill their groups.
Well, is it they're making miracles happen or you're making mistakes happen?
It depends. The sort of things that I consider them making miracles are things that players, one or two stones stronger than me, consider me making obvious blunders. So it's a matter of perspective, I think.
Yeah. I mean, there's just so much strength for like white right now that it's hard to even think of a way that black would be able to make two eyes, right? Like, something like this maybe, but even this, I'm not sure it's fully alive.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, there could be something, who knows, right? But it's tough. But I do think that white's probably complicating it a little bit more than it should. If I were white, I'd probably just play here, protect the cut, let these two groups, connect up and just play something like this. If black chooses to switch gears and play over here, white plays something like this, and again, just take away the eye space. No reason to get fancy. You're so far ahead.
Like the reason I didn't surrender because white made some moves that I may.
Yeah, there's some questionable moves here by white, I think. Yeah, because there is that cut that exists at H5. Yeah, I mean, if black can live here, I think white's probably still ahead, but it's not crazy. I do think this is probably a little bit too small. I would probably focus something on like this, with the idea being that black plays here, boom, boom, boom. Oops, sorry. Maybe, sorry. Something like this, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe black just tries to live in the corner, but it's not quite clear. So I think because of all the Aji here, I would probably just play it at P18. There's no white's all connected up here. White's connected up here. There's no way. There's not enough liberties to really attack the life of this group. And so it's never going to be a problem for this group to live, right?
Yeah.
And so
I
you would
just
play
paranoid.
this if like you're trying to build up outward influence, but that just gives
Mhm.
black an opportunity to protect.
Okay.
Which is basically what happened, right?
Mhm.
And so you've exchanged this move for S18, and we can
Mhm.
say that S18 is definitely more points.
Definitely.
I made a mistake there. Yeah.
Yeah, probably just play here.
Mhm.
But again, it still seems pretty much over.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is definitely game over.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think we need to go too much further.
Yeah, don't worry.
Don't worry. Okay.